So this is the rail fence cipher that we had discussed in our last class. So basically, we will write it down in a zigzag sequence. After that, we will read them row by row. Okay, so that is the row by row sequence. We'll write it down in a zigzag sequence. Zigzag sequence. This is the plain text. This is the plain text. Come home tomorrow. So this is the plain text. We will write it down first, and then we will read it. We will read it row by row. So this is the first row. This is the second row. Now, simple columnar transposition technique. The first one is the simple columnar transposition technique we have already discussed. So what will happen? First of all, we have to consider the key. So if the key is 6 columns, then we have to write down the total plain text, that is come, home, then tomorrow, TOMORRW, in this way, and then we just need to read it down as per the random order of the sequence. That is, fourth column we read first, in the sixth column will be read, then the first column, then the second column, then the fifth column, and then the third column. So this is the sequence that is given, and we have to follow that sequence. So in this way, we will get the ciphertext. The best is that if you go through why I am telling this from the book again, because last class we had discussed it with the help of the PPT, with the help of the we had discussed this thing with the help of the PPT. So if you want to have more information with you regarding this method, you can directly go to this Atul Kahate book that is posted in your Google Classroom, and you can go through the explanation that we have. Actually, I had told you in the class. So that explanation you can get. So this PPT is good, but the explanation of the whole things you can get from the book. Okay, so these are the three methods under the transposition technique. That is the rail fence technique, then the simple columnar technique, and then the double columnar technique. Okay, so there are three techniques we had already discussed. Now today we were going to discuss one new method, that is called the Varnam cipher or one-time pad. Varnam cipher, or also known as one-time pad. It is implemented using a random set of non-repeating characters as an input ciphertext. So these are the algorithm for the Varnam cipher. This is the Varnam cipher is also an example of symmetric key cryptography example, where the same key will be, what is symmetric key cryptography? When the same key will be used for encryption purpose and same key will be used for the decryption purpose. So the same key we will use to convert plain text to ciphertext, and that key again we will use to convert ciphertext to plain text. So that is called as a Varnam cipher. So the treat, so we have to just take one example, just directly go to the example. That will be very good to understand that what is the use of this Varnam cipher. So Varnam cipher, suppose the plain text is how are you. So the plain text is how are you. Now this how are you, that every alphabet you have to replace it with the particular position. For example, the position of A is 0. Then B is 1, C is 2, 3, D is 3. So there is the positions are there. So first of all, every alphabet will be replaced by the corresponding position. So if this is your plain text, so that will be the set of digits you just need to write as per the position of the alphabet in the English alphabet set. Okay, so for example, A, in case of A, like A is the position of A is 0, the position of U is 14, the position of Y is 24. So if you start with A0, then the Z will be 25. So in this way, you have to write down the plain text. After that, you will generate one random one-time key or random one-time pad. This is the random one-time pad. So here, using the one-time pad, this is your random key. Okay, so this is your random key. Okay, So again, these random keys positions will be written as the particular way. That is, the position of N is 30, the position of C is 2, the position of B is 1, position of T is 19, position of Z is 25. So in this, you have to write it down the one-time pad. Then you just need to perform the simple addition operation. So 20 plus 20, 43, 14 plus 17, 31, 24 plus 0, 24, 4 plus 16, 20, 17 plus 25, 42, 0 plus 19, 19, 22 plus 1, 23. So you in this way you have to perform the operation. Then what will be the next step? So this is your first step, your second step, this is your third step. So in the third step, we will perform addition. After that, we will perform subtraction operation if the particular number is greater than 25, because we have a list that contains 0 to 25 alphabets. The position of the alphabet range 0 to 25. So what you need to do, you have to the particular number after addition is greater than 25, you have to subtract 26. Okay, so this is then this is okay, this is okay, this is okay. This 42 is than 25, so you have to subtract 26, you will get 16. Again the 31, that is you will get 5, and the from 43 subtracting 26, you will get 17. Now again you just need to do, that is the replace the position of the alphabets with the corresponding alphabet. For example, position of 16, the corresponding alphabet is Q. Position of 23, the corresponding alphabet is A. Position 19, the corresponding alphabet is T. At position 60, corresponding alphabet is Q. So that is the example of the Varnam cipher. That is the example of the Varnam cipher. So what is the, that means that Varnam cipher is okay. This is same thing that we had did in the many algorithms. So what is the difference? So the problem is that in case of Varnam cipher, the key will be used just one time, just like one password by OTP that actually example of an symmetric cryptography. So for example, you are going to do any kind of operations. So the particular bank or organization or Amazon will send you one time OTP, one time password. What is the full form of OTP? One time password. So one time password will be sent, and password will be used for converting that password. Amazon has been used for encryption, and the same password you will use for decryption. So that is the way. So Varnam cipher actually works on kind of mechanisms where you just need to do conversion of text to ciphertext and ciphertext to plaintext just using one key. And that key won't be used anymore. Okay. So this is the difference between the normal technique corresponding to the Varnam cipher. So Varnam cipher actually is the concept of OTP or one-time password. Here the one-time key has been used, and after that it is not in use. So next time when you are sending message, again you will generate another set of key. Next time when you next time case of Varnam cipher, these are the 5 steps. So just remember that first of all you just need to write down the plain text to its current position. Then you have to consider one same size key. Randomly you can generate a same size key. One key, so that position of the key will be replaced by corresponding digit position. So the alphabet will be written in this way. Perform the addition operation, and a particular number after addition is greater than 26, you just need to subtract 26 from it, so that the number ranges between 0 to 25, because our alphabet's range is 0 to 25. Otherwise, you cannot convert these numbers to the corresponding alphabets. So this is Varnam cipher. Any doubt, student, regarding this Varnam cipher?
Ma'am, one question, ma'am.
Yes.
ম্যাম ওয়ান টাইম প্যাডে এটা 13টা পাচ্ছে কোত্থেকে ওটা 7 এর পর যে যেমন মানে একবার দেখান টেক্সটটা একবার দেখান, একবার ডিসপ্লে করুন, স্ক্রিনটা একবার শেয়ার করুন। ওখানে 13 পেলো কোত্থেকে ওটা ওয়ান টাইম প্যাডে এন পাচ্ছে ওটা পেয়ে গেল।
এটা The position of N is 13 in the English alphabet.
না এনটা পেলো কোত্থেকে এনটা?
এটা র্যান্ডমলি কিটা র্যান্ডমলি জেনারেট করছে, যেমন ওটিপি এই যে ওয়ান টাইম প্যাড, এই যে কিটা র্যান্ডমলি জেনারেট করছে,
ওটা দেয়া থাকবে আচ্ছা
ঠিক আছে।
আচ্ছা
next is book cipher or running key cipher. Okay, this is the last one, that is the book cipher or running key cipher. So the book cipher is quite simple, just like to the Varnam cipher. So the some portion of the textbook is used which serve as the purpose of the one time pad, that the character from a book are used for a one time pad and they are added to the input text message similar to the way of one time pad. Okay, so how you will generate this one time pad? So every time you just need to write one program to generate same size alphabets. So that can also be done, that in case of book cipher. So one book is used and from the book you will use some portion of the text as the one time pad. Okay, so this is how you can also generate key for the Varnam cipher, and this is called as the book cipher. মানে ধরো একটা যে কোনো you will take any book and from the book you will just take some portion of the text as the one time pad, that is for the how many characters you need. So for example, here the plain text size is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, so 9 size of plain text is 9. So you will take from the book, that is the first suppose this is something written in the book, so how we will take, so 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, so this will be so this it should and only b portion, so that will be taken as the one time pad. So this is how in case of book cipher the one time pad is generated, and that's why it is called running key cipher. You are just reading it and running that is the running time you are designing the cipher. So this is the end of the procedures, how you can generate plain text to ciphertext and ciphertext to plain text. Now this is, I hope you know, I had already discussed that using this method what we will do, we will convert the plain text to ciphertext. This method is called encryption, and from the ciphertext we will again perform the decryption operation by which we will get ciphertext to plain text back. So this is called the decryption. Okay, so normally what actually happens, the sender sends the plain text and the machine will sender writing something, the machine is converting into a ciphertext, and with the help of the internet the message is transferred to the receiver's machine, and the receiver machine again performs some operation and this ciphertext to plain text is generated by the receiver. Now I hope you have studied networking syllabus very well, and this figure is a little bit familiar to you as per the networking syllabus. So you know this is the actually this hello John, when you are writing you are at the application layer. Then can you tell me that which layer actually perform the, in case of WSI model, this encryption operation? Can you tell me? Do you know which particular layer actually performs the encryption and decryption operations, that is the cryptography?
Ma'am, forget.
Huh?
भूल गए ma'am.
Presentation
data link layer.
Presentation layer, yes. The presentation layer actually yes Prerna, presentation layer, right. So the presentation layer is something that where these encryption and decryption operations are performed. So in case of application layer you are writing something, then it goes to the presentation layer, and this plain text to ciphertext conversion or ciphertext to plain text conversion is done. Then this ciphertext is transferred to the session layer, transport layer, network layer, data link layer, physical layer. So physical layer is something when the data is actually transferred. So this is sender, this is receiver. So this via internet the data is transferred. Now the ciphertext is received by the receiver in physical layer. Then it will perform the data link layer operations, network layer, transport layer, session layer, and after that the presentation layer again convert the ciphertext to plain text at the receiver end, and then at the receiver end's application layer, you will see this message. So this is how the operations are going on if you are considering any kind of OSI model or TCP/IP model. OSI model is theoretical, but the TCP/IP model is something that which actually in use. That is used in our actual life. So in case of TCP/IP method, the only application layer is there. So inside the application layer, all things are going on. So the question is if it is done by OSI model, that is presentation layer. But normally, if you are using TCP/IP network model, then it will be used by the particular application layer. So this is the encryption decryption procedure. Next, we will discuss that actually what will be required in case of encryption and decryption process. So in case of encryption and decryption process, we need two information. One is algorithm, another is key. So we have to first find out that which algorithm we are going to use. Then we have to decide which key we need to use. For example, if I decide I will use modified Caesar cipher, so that I know that how the work will be going on, and then I just need to decide what will be. There are two important things when you are doing encryption and decryption: algorithm and key. In our subsequent chapters, we will learn that what will be the algorithms, and then we have to understand the fact that what will be the keys. Okay. So there are two things we need to remember here. Sorry, my video was off. So there are two things that we need to remember over here. One thing is what will be the algorithm, and other is that what will be our key. Okay. So there are two things we just need to decide every time when the encryption and decryption procedure is going on. So this is the something that we already known that cryptography are basically two methods. I had already discussed in our classes repeatedly. So this is the symmetric key cryptography, and this is asymmetric cryptography. So two techniques we will use. So symmetric key cryptography means same key will be used for encryption and decryption procedure. In case of asymmetric key cryptography, one key will be used for encryption and the different key will be used for the decryption. So this is the theory way that we have discussed again and again. So you will just go through this book. This is very easy to understand that how things are going on and on. So this is a good one. So today we will going to discuss the Diffie-Hellman key exchange procedure. Okay, Diffie-Hellman. This is as I told you that there are two things we need to do in case of symmetric key, asymmetric key algorithm. One is algorithm, another is key. So algorithm, we have learned about different algorithms. Now next our task is that how to generate key. Now just think the procedure that the main issue of the symmetric cryptography is how to share the key. So either you can tell the key to your receiver by phone, by letter, but whatever way you are choosing, that must be attacked by the attacker. So if you are telling it via phone, it may happen that somebody listens the information that you are sending. Suppose I am telling that yes, my key is 74. Okay, so something I am telling. So somebody listens it. That is eavesdropping, and then the attacker is hacking the phone line, and they will also get the information, not eavesdropping, from the communication that is going on. From there they will get the information that the key is 74. Or it may happen that if you are using for example, you are sending letter, a confidential letter, and via post. So when you are using any courier service or anything, so if the hacker got the particular letter, got the particular courier, they will get the key from there. So there is a problem that how we can send the key in case of symmetric key algorithm. To solve the problem, I hope now you get the issue of symmetric key cryptography key exchange problem. So there are 2-3 ways we can send the key. We can send it via phone, via email, via confidential letter, through courier, through post office, but everywhere it is the data is transferred through internet or via peer-to-peer line or some broadband connection, whatever it is. So the main issue is how we can share the key so that the key will be confidential between the sender and the receiver. No other than sender and receiver can get the key. So this is the main issue of the key exchange problem. So to solve the problem, Diffie and Hellman derived one solution, that is that is Whitefield, Diffie and Martin Hellman. These are the two scientists who actually designed one amazing solutions to solve this key exchange problem. So that's why this method is called Diffie-Hellman key exchange algorithm. So this is the procedure that how we can generate the key. So this key generation, Diffie-Hellman is not symmetric cryptography or asymmetric cryptography example. This is not algorithm for conversion of plain text to ciphertext. This is the algorithm for key generation or key exchange. Okay. So this is the Diffie-Hellman key exchange algorithm. So let's check the algorithm first, then I will discuss one by one. Okay. So there are two senders are there. So two persons are involved over there. That is sender and receiver. Sender and receiver. So Alice is the sender and Bob is the receiver. So Alice and Bob agree on two prime numbers n and g. Initially, Alice and Bob, they have decided two prime numbers n and g. N and g, they are not sharing the key, they are actually sharing two prime numbers between them, that is n and g. Okay, now Alice will generate one auxiliary value a, which is g to the power x mod n. So this is the formula. So n and g, both Alice and Bob known, and n and g is something called public. So you are just via phone, via email, via post office or courier, you are sending these two information. That's n, the value of n and g. Okay. So now Alice, this x is secret to Alice, and this x is secret to Alice. Alice, only I know. If I am Alice, for example, so only I know what is the value of x. Okay, so a equal to g to the power x mod n. So I have x value. So what I will do, I will perform g to the power x mod n, and then I will share this a to Bob. I am not sharing the key. So how the key can be generated? Just check it over here. Now what Bob will do? Bob will perform g to the power y mod n. G to the power y mod n. So what is g to the power y? So y is secret key of Bob. Y is a secret key of Bob. So what Bob will perform? G to the power y mod n, and this b will be generated, and this b will be shared to the Alice. Now what Alice will do? Now from this information b, Alice will generate the symmetric key. How this can be generated? So k1 equal to b to the power x mod n. And what Bob will do? Bob has the information of a, so Bob will perform a to the power y mod n. Now this k1 and k2 equal to key, equal to k. So this k1 equal to k2, that is symmetric key. So here the Alice and Bob are not sharing the symmetric key. Instead of that, they are transferring some auxiliary value, that is n, g, and a and b. So instead of sharing the actual k, so they are sharing some auxiliary value. That's why it can solve the symmetric cryptography problem. Now you will say, ma'am, why this k1 equal to k2? So let's check it. Half an hour later, is Indranil. So k1 equal to k2 equal to k. Why these things is going to happen? Just check this thing. I'm telling you this. So suppose this is k1. What is k1? K1 is g to the power. It will be helpful. So what is k1? K1 is b to the power x mod n. What is b? B is g to the power y mod n. তাহলে আউটপুটটা কি হলো? G to the power xy mod n, right? So what is actually k1? G to the power xy mod n. Now let's decide k2. What is k2? A to the power y mod n. A to the power y mod n. What is a? A is g to the power x. That means k2 equal to again g to the power xy mod n. That's why the symmetric key is over here, K1 equal to K2 equal to K. That means both are g to the power xy model. So that thing will be again discussed over here. So what is K1? K1 is b to the power x model. What is B? B is g to the power y model. If I replace this, what will be K1? That g to the power yx model. Same thing. What is K2? A to the power y model. What is A? A is g to the power x model. তাহলে কি হচ্ছে K2 g to the power xy model. তাহলে for that, so you can get that K1 equal to K2 is the equal to the symmetric key. So that is how that we are not sharing the symmetric key. Still, we can generate the key at the both side, and the same key can be used for the encryption and the decryption purpose. So let's take one mathematical example of Diffie-Hellman. Diffie-Hellman is very, very important. You will always get the question from the Diffie-Hellman. Always, if you see the last 5 years question paper, you will see always questions will come from the Diffie-Hellman key exchange algorithm. Either these steps are asked, or like some questions is given, there is a values are given, and from there you need to calculate the keys, or you need to convert the plain text to ciphertext. So that thing. So first of all, as per the question, you can see that there are two numbers and involved, n and g, that will be shared between Alice and Bob. Like a public, anybody can have the information n and g. So let's take these are two. Only one thing you just need to remember: this n and g should be large prime number. So n equal to 11, g equal to 7. Okay, so some prime numbers you need to take. So actually these prime numbers will be quite large, but as we are doing one example, so we have taken n equal to 11, g equal to 7, so that we can compute it faster. Otherwise, if you take like some big prime number like 131, it will take time. But normally it should be some large prime number you have to take, so it will add some complexity, and then it can be done as per your requirement. So that is the, just check this thing. So n equal to 11, g equal to 7. So Alice chooses another prime number x, which is secret to Alice. So Alice has one secret key x, and Bob has another secret key y. So let x equal to 3. So then what will be the formula? Formula is A will calculate g to the power x model. So g is our here 7. So we will calculate 7 to the power 3 mod 11. 7 to the power 3 means 343 mod 11, which gives you 2. Okay, so this A, the value of A is 2. Now Alice sends this A to Bob. Alice sends this 2. Alice calculates this A, which is equal to 2, and this 2 will be sent to the Bob. Now what Bob will do? Bob has also this information n equal to 11, g equal to 7. So Bob will calculate another value B, that is g to the power y model. Why? What is y? Y is the secret key that only Bob knows. That is the secret key that is only Bob knows. So for example, that y equal to 6. So it can be any number, random number. It must not, it is not mandatory that you have to take prime number. You can take any integer. So what Bob will do? Bob will do g to the power y model. 7 to the power 6 mod 11. So this is the value, and then you will perform mod 11. Mod means the remainder calculation. So the remainder is 4. This 4 Bob will send to Alice. A equal to 2 and B equal to 4. That information will be exchanged between Alice and Bob. Now what Alice will do? Alice will calculate this b to the power x model. Initially Alice ki calculate korchilo g to the power x model. Now g will be replaced by b, and b has the data of b sent by Bob. B mane 4. কি calculate হবে k1? 4 to the power 3 mod 11, that is 64 mod 11, which is equal to 9. আর Bob কি calculate করবে? Bob will calculate the secret key k2. k2 কি করে calculate করবে? The formula Bob আগে কি calculate করছিল g to the power y model, এখনো calculate করবে a to the power y model. So now it will calculate a to the power y model. So how that can be calculated? That to the power 6 mod 11, that is 64 mod 11, which is equal to 9. That means the secret key, that is 9, is now present with Bob and Alice. Now this key, they can be used for encryption and decryption purpose. So what is the advantage of Diffie-Hellman key exchange algorithm? we are not sharing this 9. We are not actually sharing the symmetric key that will be required for encryption and decryption purpose. Instead of that, we are sharing some random prime numbers, and along with that, we are sharing some auxiliary values between Alice and Bob. Okay, so that's why this Diffie-Hellman key exchange algorithm is very famous. It was developed like in 1976 probably. So from that time, the Diffie-Hellman key exchange algorithm has been used for generating symmetric key at both sides. So same algorithm program will be executed both sender and receiver side, and in that way they can generate the key without sending the actual symmetric key between sender and receiver. Okay, this is very important. Please go through it. Okay, so I'm just this is how, that is initially this this N and G is shared, then another key X will be Alice will generate, and another key Y that is generated by Bob, and then they calculate all these stuffs and shared all these things. So 3 information Alice required. One is this is given as X, Y, G, but actually they required N, G, and X, and here the Bob has the 3 kind of informations are there, N, G, and Y. Okay, so there are some problems of that there that we will discuss. This is a big thing. I will be required like 30 minutes of class to explain the manning middle attack and bucket brigade attack that are involved. This there is some problems of Diffie-Hellman key exchange algorithm. That's why we have to switch to asymmetric cryptography.